All right, let's dive into a huge topic in the world of business intelligence. We're talking about how to get people to actually use the powerful, expensive systems we spend so much time building. We're going to break down 5 key ideas that can take a BI tool from being a total ghost town to being the absolute center of data-driven decisions.
You know the story, right? You spend months, maybe even years, crafting this perfect BI environment. It's got all the bells and whistles, it's connected to everything, and then you launch, and nothing. Just crickets. The adoption rates are in the basement, and everyone's still running the business on spreadsheets. It's got to be one of the most frustrating things, but believe me, it is incredibly common.
So what gives? What's the fix? Well, the first instinct is often to throw more technology at it, but that's almost never the right answer. The real problem, the real bottleneck, is almost always the user experience. I mean, think about it. If the system is slow, or it's confusing, or it just doesn't give people what they need when they need it, they're just not going to use it. Simple as that. So we're going to tackle this by looking at 5 critical questions every BI team needs to ask themselves.
Okay, so where does this whole user experience journey even start? A lot of the time, it begins with a simple request for a new report. But if that simple request takes weeks or months to fulfill, your users are going to give up. That delay is the first big hurdle, and it's what leads directly to all those rogue spreadsheets and shadow IT systems popping up everywhere.
Now, a really powerful way to smash through this bottleneck is to decentralize things with what's called a super user strategy. Here's how it works. First, you find those key data-savvy people in each department. Then, you empower them. You give them their own tools, analytic development environments. You can think of them as safe sandboxes where they can build and test reports without waiting for IT. And IT's role? It completely changes. They stop being a report factory and start being an enabler, providing training, support, and those all-important metadata layers that make self-service actually work. The end result is pretty amazing. Users get the reports they need way faster, and they get them from colleagues who actually understand their corner of the business.
And what I love about this is how it flips the script. This isn't about IT losing control. It's about turning every department into a little innovation lab. They become incubators for new ideas, for new ways to look at the data, and the best of those homegrown solutions? Well, those can be polished up, standardized, and scaled for the whole company to use. It's a total win-win.
So empowering super users gets reports built faster. Awesome! But that only solves half the problem. What happens when someone actually opens that report and starts clicking around? You see, the speed of delivery is every bit as critical as the speed of development.
This quote just nails it. Users today expect things to be instant. They don't want to feel like they're waiting for a computer. They want to ask a question and get an answer just like that, as if the tool were an extension of their own brain. Any delay, any little spinning wheel, it just shatters that flow and leads to frustration and pretty soon, abandonment.
So, speed of thought is the goal. But what does that mean in the real world? Well, the industry has kind of settled on a magic number: 5 seconds. The goal should be that every single click a user makes, every filter, every drill down, comes back with a result in 5 seconds or less. If you can hit that target consistently, your users will feel like the system is incredibly fast and responsive.
Now, hitting that 5-second goal isn't just one thing. It takes a whole mix of strategies. You've got the technical stuff, of course, like tuning your databases and using smart caching, but it's also about smart design. Building standard, pre-optimized reports that can serve lots of different needs is way more efficient than a total free-for-all. And, honestly, sometimes it's just about a little bit of user education, helping people understand why asking for 10 years of daily data might take a little longer.
Okay, but even a system that responds in 1 second doesn't mean a whole lot if the data it's showing you is from last month. And that brings us to our third key idea. You absolutely have to have right-time data. Real-time data is all about one thing: being actionable. It means getting away from old, stale, historical reports and giving people information that's fresh enough for them to actually do something about it. For most businesses, that means daily data updates, and for some, even hourly. It's about letting people spot problems and fix them before they become big, expensive disasters.
And this really represents a massive shift in mindset. You're moving from a passive approach, just reviewing history and answering what happened last quarter, to a proactive, operational one. The whole goal is to answer what is happening right now and what do I need to do? This is what turns BI from a simple reporting tool into a genuine, powerful management tool.
This brings us to a really important question. Okay, we've built a fast system. It's got fresh data, we've got a network of super users, but how do we actually know if it's working? How do we measure success and, more importantly, spot trouble before it's too late? And this is the answer. You have to start thinking of your usage stats as an early warning system. This is not about being big brother or spying on your users, it's a health check for your whole BI environment. If you see usage suddenly drop in one department, that's a red flag. It's a leading indicator that something is wrong. Maybe performance, maybe data quality, maybe they just need more training.
And honestly, when you start tracking this stuff, the numbers can be pretty shocking. It is not at all uncommon to see that more than half of the people who have a BI license aren't even using it weekly. That massive gap between licensed users and active users, that's your opportunity. That's the potential you need to unlock.
Because the real power here isn't in just knowing the number. It's about what you do about it. A low adoption rate isn't a failure. It's a signal to get proactive. You reach out to those people, you sit down with them, understand their struggles, offer some targeted training, and use their feedback to make the whole solution better. This turns simple monitoring into a powerful loop for constant improvement.
Okay, let's get to our final question. And this one is all about the long game. A successful launch is great, but how do you keep that momentum going? How do you make sure the BI system is still a vital resource 2, 3, 5 years from now?
This quote just says it all. A BI system isn't a project that you build, launch, and then walk away from. It's a living, breathing part of the organization. The business is always changing, so the BI solution has to change and evolve right along with it. The work is never, ever done.
So what does that look like? Well, it means you have to stop thinking like a project manager and start thinking like a product manager. You're not just building a thing, you're managing a living resource. That means you're always talking to your end users, always gathering new requirements. You're delivering new features and small, regular iterations. And someone on your team has to be the BI evangelist, the person who's constantly promoting and showing the value of the system to the whole organization.
And as we pull this all together, I think it's really important to see how these 5 keys are all connected. This isn't a checklist you just run through once. It's a continuous cycle of improvement. You monitor usage, which helps you gather new requirements, which you deliver quickly through your super users, making sure it's fast and uses right-time data, and then the loop just starts all over again.
Which really leaves us with this final big idea to take back to our own teams. If we treat our BI system like a service that is constantly evolving to meet the needs of the business, can we ever really say that the project is done? It's a question that really changes how we approach our work every single day.
And that's a wrap for this explainer. If this breakdown gave you some new ideas, please do me a favor and hit that like button. Share it with your colleagues and definitely subscribe for more deep dives. Thanks so much for watching.